Hello, I'm Cosmic Dreamer. Today we are talking about a very famous book, Outwitting the Devil. This book is famous for two reasons. One is that it was once listed as banned book. The main reason why it was banned is self-ban. After the author wrote this book, everyone around him stopped him from publishing it. They said that the book couldn't be published at that time, it was too dangerous, and the author felt it was a bit dangerous, so he didn't publish it. How long has this ban lasted? It lasted for 73 years. It was only published more than 40 years after his death. Who published it? It was the successor of his consortium. Another reason why this book is famous is because the author of this book is very famous. The author of this book is the well-known American self-help author, Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill is one of the most famous people in the field of self-help. Self-help refers to seeking the meaning of life, making oneself better, pursuing a better life, and constantly improving oneself. This is called self-help. Later, a branch of self-help evolved into the now popular achievement science. Napoleon Hill was the first person in achievement science, the founding father, the initial leader. Napoleon Hill was born in 1883 and passed away in 1970 at the age of 87. According to popular sayings, he was born in an illiterate family. No one in his family could read, and the environment was not good. He got into college through his continuous efforts and learning. However, the tuition fees for the university were quite expensive, so he took up a part-time job as a reporter. While working part-time as a reporter, he had the opportunity to interview Andrew Carnegie, the world's steel king at the time. During the interview with Carnegie, he told Carnegie that he had an idea to interview as many successful people as possible, summarizing their successful experiences, finding the rules among them, and passing them on to future generations, making it easier for people to achieve success. Carnegie said, "This is a good thing. I wanted to do it before, but I'm too old now." At that time, Carnegie was already 73 years old. Napoleon asked Carnegie if he would be willing to sponsor him a little money, because doing this would consume a lot of time and energy. "If you could sponsor me, I wouldn't have to worry about money, and I could concentrate on studying this matter." Carnegie said, "This is a good thing, but I can't provide you with any funding. However, I can introduce you to some connections. I do know quite a few successful people. And you should be mentally prepared for this. It may take you decades or even your whole life to interview all the successful people. Would you be willing to do that?" Napoleon Hill thought about it and said, "Okay, I'm willing to devote my lifetime to this." Summarizing their successful experiences in life is a very complicated and time-consuming thing. Carnegie thinks that even after spending a decade or more, you might not be able to summarize it, and even if you do, it might not be useful. So it's possible that you might not achieve anything even if you spend your whole life on it. Are you really willing to do this? It requires a huge amount of courage and financial power, but I am not willing to finance you. Napoleon Hill said, "Okay, as long as you are willing to introduce me to your connections, I am willing to devote my life to this." According to Napoleon, with Carnegie's help, he later interviewed the top talents in various fields around the world, totaling more than 500 people. He summarized the experiences of success and wrote them into a book. This book, published in 1937, is called Think and Grow Rich. Think and grow rich means to become rich through thinking. To date, this book has sold more than 100 million copies worldwide, perhaps second only to the Bible. It sold 7 times the number of Conversations with God. We will talk about Conversations with God in the next video. So Napoleon Hill is already very famous for this book. And Outwitting the Devil is a book he released the year after he finished writing Think and Grow Rich. After it was finished, everyone said not to publish it, you can't publish it, it's too scary. Think and Grow Rich is not only an initial representation of achievement science, but also the source of psychological laws. He interviewed all the successful people and finally found out that they all succeeded by thinking. So think and grow rich. What he means is that through thinking, your body will naturally start to act. When you think to the extreme, your body will naturally act. You don't need to worry about whether you can achieve it by thinking. If you really think about it, you will definitely achieve it. Some people say that after reading Think and Grow Rich, they feel inspired. They feel that they can be successful as long as they do according to it. But after practicing, they find it very difficult. It's not so easy. So, many people will say, is this book deceiving people? After all, it's a bit like the law of attraction. A lot of people wonder if the law of attraction is useful. So he wrote this Outwitting the Devil the next year, telling you why you can't do it. But after reading this book, his family said, don't publish it, don't publish it. Why? It's because this book mentioned some taboos at the time, which don't seem to be a big deal now. Next, I will tell you what this book talks about that makes it a banned book. A part of the introduction of this book is his life story. It talks about how he wrote such a book. He said that in 1929, he experienced the Great Depression and fell into the lowest point in his life. All his money was in the bank, and the bank went bankrupt overnight, and the wealth he had accumulated in the first half of his life was gone in an instant. He was depressed about this for 3 years. Notice that it's not that he stopped trying because of this setback. It was that the situation at the time didn't allow him to try again, to be successful again. During the Great Depression, no matter how hard you tried, it was useless. So, when he was depressed, one day, he contacted the devil using a special method. This book doesn't clearly explain the method, but just says that he used a special method. Actually, he used a code to contact the devil, just like a telephone number for the devil. As long as you dial this number, you can contact the devil. And the book starts off by saying, some people might have a question after reading this book. Is this the real devil that you mentioned? Or is it just your imagination? Napoleon Hill said, I don't know either, but whether it is real or not is not important. What's important is the message it conveys, which is very valuable. That's the key point. Then, after saying this, the book starts a question and answer session. The author starts by saying, Mr. Devil, I have found a method to contact you, and today I would like to ask you a few simple questions. Could you answer truthfully? The devil responded, You can, but don't call me Mr. Devil. Call me Your Majesty. The author retorts, By what right do you demand such royal respect? Devil replies, You should know I control 98% of the people of your world. Do you not think that entitles me to rank as royalty? In fact, by reading the entire book, you will find that the author is full of hostility towards the devil. He believes his current state is caused by the devil. It's not that he regards him as a deity or an object of worship. So there is a lot of aggressive language, not very respectful language. Then there comes another question. The devil said he controls 98% of the people in this world. So who is not controlled by him? There are % of people who are not controlled by him, which we will talk about later. The author again counters, You control 98% of people. Do you have any evidence? The devil said, There's too much. If you want to know, please call me Your Majesty. The author said, Okay, Your Majesty, could you please tell me where you are and how you look like? The devil said, I am disembodied and am made up of negative energy. This world is half positive energy and half negative energy. Whether it's matter or energy, they are divided into half positive and half negative. I am made up of the negative half, and I dwell in the bodies of all those with negative energy. The author asked again, Oh, I see what you are preparing to claim. You are laying the foundation to say that if it were not for you, there would be no world, no stars, no electrons, no atoms, no human beings, nothing. Is that correct? The devil said, Absolutely correct. The author continued, Well, if you only occupy 1/2 of energy and matter, who occupies the other half? The devil said, The other half is occupied by my opposition. The author continued, Opposition? What do you mean? The devil said, The opposition is what you earthbound call God. The author asked again, So you have the universe divided up with God. Is that your claim? The devil answered, It's not my claim, but actually a fact. Before this interview is finished, you will understand why my claim is true. You will also understand why it has to be true. Otherwise, there could be no world such as yours, no earthbound creatures such as you. I am no beast with a forked tongue and a spiked tail. At this point, the author might have gotten a little impatient and asked again, But you do control the minds of 98 out of every 100 people. You said so yourself. Who causes all the misery in this 98% devil-controlled world if you do not? And the devil said, I have not said that I do not cause all the misery of the world. On the contrary, I brag about it. It is my job to represent the negative side of everything, including the thoughts of you earthbound people. How else could I control people? My opposition controls positive thoughts. I control negative thoughts. The author asked again, how do you gain control of the minds of people? The devil said, oh, that is easy. I merely move in and occupy the unused space of the human brain. I sow the seeds of negative thought in the minds of people so I can occupy and control the space. One of my cleverest devices for mind control is fear. I plant the seed of fear in the minds of people. And as these seeds germinate and grow, through use, I control the space they occupy. The 6 most effective fears are the fear of poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death. When it surpasses the positive energy, I can control your thoughts. As long as you have any kind of negative emotion, I can enter your heart and control your thought process. The devil says that 98% of people in this world have at least 1 or 2 fears. So I control 98% of the people in this world. Although my competitor also tries hard to instill some positive ideas, he clearly fails and is not at all my match. My opponent controls all the positive forces in this world, such as love, faith, hope, and optimism. My opponent also controls the positive forces of all natural laws throughout the universe. The forces that keep the Earth, the planets, and all the stars in balance. I do not want to control stars and planets. I prefer to control the human mind. Of course, I also admit that I cannot entirely control a person's thoughts. It is just that the more negative energy they have inside their heart, the easier it is for me to control them. I very much enjoy being in places filled with negative energy. As I rely on fear to increase my own power, creating fear is the most critical part of my job. Then, the author asked again, let us get away from personalities. I came here to learn more about you, not to discuss myself. Please go ahead and tell me of the many tricks you have devised for gaining control of the human mind. What is your most effective weapon right now? At this point, the most magical part of this book occurred. That is when the devil mentioned war, saying that he is trying to provoke another world war. This book was written in 1938, and World War II broke out in 1939. In other words, what Devil said is true. This book is a book of prophecy, so it is very possible the author this time contacted the real devil. Devil knows a lot of things. The war was instigated by him. Devil said, besides creating wars, there's something else he really enjoys, which is creating poverty. Poverty can cause a lot of people to feel fear. Moreover, poverty can cause people to lose their ability to think. When a person loses their ability to think for themselves, I can easily control them. That's why I will do everything I can to prevent people from gaining wealth. You think making money is very hard? It's because of the devil's influence. He does everything he can to keep you in a state of poverty, so you can't think properly at this time. Devil says, of course, besides war and poverty, there are many other ways I have. Too many. Such as desires, and within desires, my favorite ones to use are food, and sexual desires, greed, laziness, vanity. These are all things I can take advantage of. Negative emotions can be used as well, such as anger, resentment, hatred. These are all my regular methods. Similarly, in order to keep you all constantly wandering in desires, I will also do everything possible to prevent your satisfaction, to keep you from getting what you're asking for. This is my main job. Of course, Devil also specifically mentioned that not all wealthy people can be controlled. But there are some wealthy people that make it particularly resentful. Those who use their wealth for the benefit of mankind, to solve poverty and so on, these are the ones it doesn't like. Devil likes those who can serve him, those who continuously create poverty and wars. I think perhaps this is why this book had a hard time getting published. This is a reason. It is that Devil points out there are some people in this world who are unkind to get wealth. Some of the ruling class, they are creating this panic. Devil said that before the appearance of human beings, he was controlling all the creatures in this world, and to control all creatures on earth, only one thing was needed to control them, and that was fear. After humans appeared, humans had their own thoughts, so it was a little difficult to control them. He's not so foolish as to rely solely on fear to accomplish this task, so he comes up with some new methods, like the poverty or desire we just mentioned. Of course, getting inside each of you is only the first step for the devil. The second step is even more important, which is to turn these negative energies and emotions into your habits. Let you constantly repeat these negative emotions and energies, and only then is his work truly completed. It allows him to grow within you. And when a person's negative emotions continue to breed, it will create confrontations, leading to wars and attacks. So, this is a continuous process. As long as it grows, the rest will come naturally. It will constantly create new fears and new negative energy, so the production process of this negative energy is a perfect loop. While Devil was proudly answering these questions, the author keenly noticed a weakness of Devil. I don't know if everyone has noticed. That is, Devil mentioned a weakness in his process of producing negative energy, that some people may not meet this condition and will not enter his cycle. The author then said, so you mean people who have the ability to think for themselves, who have their own ideas? They are not so easily controlled by you, right? Devil said exactly right. I dislike those who have their own ideas, are full of positive energy, proactive, determined, and have little negative emotion the most. Such people are the hardest for me to control. My seeds will die inside them. I have absolutely no way to handle these people. And in this world, 2% of people are like this. And there's another group of people who are even more serious and annoying, those who can inspire others to have this kind of positive energy. For example, those you often refer to as saints, like Socrates, Confucius, Voltaire, Emerson, Thomas Paine, and Abraham Lincoln. This includes people like you. Here, Devil mentioned the author, saying the author is also such a person. Devil said, but it's still okay. 98% of people in this world are not like this. No matter how hard you try now, there will always be 98% of people who do not think so, so I still have a great chance. So the author continued to ask, so if I have my own ideas, I can escape your control. I can escape from the sea of suffering and these unfortunate things. Under your control, I will be unfortunate. So as long as I escape from you, I will be filled with happiness. Life will be filled with good luck, right? Devil said, it's not so easy to escape from my palm. Only when you have positive thoughts and they become a habit can you break free from my control. As I said before, my control over you is to make your negative emotions a habit. Similarly, when your positive thoughts become a habit, you permanently escape my control. What are positive thoughts? Those filled with hope, filled with love. Resilience, facing difficulties head-on. These are positive and proactive thoughts. You can find a different way to achieve your dreams. This is proactive. If you don't have a dream, you don't want to do it anymore, you're tired and don't want to work, then you'll fall into Devil's trap. The Devil stated that the operation of positive and negative energy is identical. When positive energy becomes a habit, it continually cycles and yields the fruits of positive energy. This can be equated with success, luck, or the completion of a long-anticipated task, all of which bring pleasure to oneself. This is positive energy. In contrast, the continuous cycle of negative energy yields the fruits of negative energy, meaning misfortune, bad luck, and so forth. And these are the results of negative energy circulating continuously. Therefore, the more you worry about poverty, the poorer you will become. The more fear you have towards poverty, the more it instigates a cycle of negative energy. Worry and fear are forms of negative energy. The more you don't want to be poor, the poorer you become. Looking at Devil's argument, it is exactly the same as the law of attraction, which we will cover in our videos later. The concept of not cannot exist in your thoughts. If you think, I don't want to be poor, the result will be poverty. In essence, focusing on what you don't want is a kind of fear, a form of negative energy, while I want to be rich is a positive, proactive energy. Although don't want to be poor and wanting to be rich seem the same semantically to us, they bear completely different meanings in the realms of the devil and God. Don't want to be poor initiates a negative cycle in the devil's domain, while wanting to be rich triggers a positive cycle in God's domain, aligning with the psychological rule. It's not important whether you want it or not. What's crucial are the concepts of rich and poor. Hence, in your application of the law of attraction, your thoughts should be devoid of negative energy. Poverty is a form of negative energy. Whether you want to be poor or do not want to be poor, you are still endorsing poverty. Similarly, whether you want to be rich or do not want to be rich, you are indulging in wealth. So fundamentally, the devil is emphasizing that a basic law, the law of attraction, exists in the world. The author then raises an intriguing question, seeming to intentionally pose this query, as if wanting us to listen. He asks, is it sufficient to just have positive and proactive thoughts? Isn't learning knowledge necessary? In my opinion, knowledge is crucial. Only with knowledge can one attain success. Yes, it seems like the author might believe that learning or acquiring knowledge is a bit more important. The devil responds, wrong. Haven't you noticed that the more knowledge human beings accumulate, the more wars are waged? Human beings are under the misconception that the accumulation of knowledge turns into wisdom, but wisdom does not come from knowledge. What devil's answer means is not known. The author also asks a very important question, which is about luck. The author asks, then there is no such reality as luck, is there? The devil responds, emphatically no. Circumstances which people do not understand are classified under the heading of luck. Behind every reality is a cause. Often the cause is so far removed from the effect that the circumstance can be explained only by attributing it to the operation of luck. Nature knows no such law as luck. It is a man-made hypothesis with which he explains away things he does not understand. The terms luck and miracle are twin sisters. Neither of them has any real existence except in the imaginations of people. Both are used to explain that which people do not understand. Remember this: everything having a real existence is capable of proof. Keep this one truth in mind, and you will become a sounder thinker. So according to the devil's statement, all things in this world are inevitable results, not because some people are lucky, so they succeed. Fate exists, luck doesn't. Fate is not luck. Fate is predestined. It's appointed at the moment of your birth. Fate is certain, but within it, you can make your choices. What does this mean? Let me give you the simplest analogy. You'll inevitably die because you were born. That's called fate. No one can escape this rule. Regardless of whether you've lived well or not, you will inevitably die. Death is your fate. Fate is definite and the outcome is definite. But how the process unfolds varies from person to person. Your failure is predetermined, but how it is reached varies. Do you think the process is important? If you only focus on the result, fate determines everything. But if you also value the process, you have the right to choose. You can make your journey very good through your positive thoughts and emotions, even though the ultimate result is death. If you only look at the result, you might think, I'm going to die in a few years, so why bother trying? If this is your perspective, then that's how your life will be. Although you know you will ultimately die, if you believe that you want to live a splendid life, you can indeed do so. The end result may be death, but the journey can still be wonderful. And then the author asked, I have often wondered why your opposition, what we earthbound call God, does not annihilate you. Can you tell me why? The devil responds, because the power is as much mine as his. It is as available to me as to him. That's what I've been trying to get across to you. The highest power in the universe can be used for constructive purposes, through what you call God, or it can be used for negative purposes, through what you call the devil. And something more important still, it can be used by any human being just as effectively as by God or the devil. In this context, I guess the meaning of the devil is that he and God must inevitably exist simultaneously. Positive energy will only exist with negative energy. Positive emotions will only exist with negative emotions. It is impossible to eliminate any one of them. So what he meant is that he's not evil. He's just negative energy. While it seems terrifying from our perspective, from his perspective, he's just a component of the universe. There's no concept of being terrifying or not. You can choose your life course. To me, there's no such thing as a good or bad life. it's the same as what God said. This might be somewhat similar to conversations with God. So the author emphasizes that whether the devil exists or not isn't crucial. What's important is the message conveyed. How you want to live your life is up to you. Whether to lead a proactive, positive, happy life, or to give up this life due to fear of an inevitable end. It's mentioned that currently, 98% of people are actually brainwashed by a fixed social pattern, losing their ability for independent thought. And that brainwashing is done by the people closest to you, your parents. The devil stresses that parents are the ones who brainwash you the most. In the end, you'll realize that this life isn't really yours, but what they want your life to be. If you want to live a life that is truly your own, it must inevitably depend on your own thinking. What the author wants to express is also this. If you want to succeed, it's not about copying my success strategies. You need to understand and pave your own path to success after learning from these strategies. You cannot merely duplicate the pattern of my success. I can only provide you with some experience. Right. The study of success isn't useless. Many people perceive it as a tool for copying success, a shortcut of sorts, and so they believe they can achieve success by simply reading a book about it. That's not how it works. The study of success is merely a collection of experience. It only serves as a guide. It can help you find your direction, but you are the one who has to walk that path. The law of attraction works the same way. Many people believe that simply by thinking about it, they can achieve success via the law of attraction. It's not that simple. You have to truly believe in it. And when I say believe, I mean you hardly even need to deliberate on it. You are so absorbed in the thought of it that your body begins to take action somewhat naturally. It's only when it becomes a habit ingrained in your DNA that you stand a chance of achieving success. Many people don't quite grasp this psychological state. They think that they can just lie in bed every day and things will happen just by thinking about it. It's not that simple. Of course, I think everyone understands this principle, but there are very few who can truly internalize it and put it into practice. However, it's indeed true that reading books on the study of success can stir up your passion and get your blood boiling with enthusiasm. The author says that passion alone is not enough. You also need to think. You need to consider how to achieve your own success, and that's your life journey. Are there really people who have found success through books on success studies? I think there must be. According to the concept mentioned by the author at present, only about 2% of people could achieve success. It is said that no matter how hard the remaining 98% of people try, and no matter how much God helps, they cannot get into the 2%. This ratio is not likely to change. The devil, so to speak, doesn't need to put in effort. It can control the 98% of people without trying. So, after finishing this book, I feel that the author is trying hard to make everyone aware of this problem, to realize how one can be part of that successful 2%. The reason why the devil dares to tell you this is because it is not afraid. It challenges you, saying essentially, I survive on negative energy. If you have the ability, let everyone be filled with positive energy and see if I still exist. Well, that's some of the content of this book. It's not too lengthy. But honestly, what the devil says is not so easy to understand. I feel from the devil's discourse, you can sense that it is also trying to inspire everyone to become a person filled with positive energy. Indeed, it keeps telling you about its problems, its weaknesses, and the unfortunate results it can bring. It's always discussing how you can lead a better life. The devil talks about this so much that it makes me think it might not be as scary as we think. It fears the day when everyone becomes imbued with negative energy. It will disappear. After all, only 2% are left. If that grows to 100%, it will presumably disappear. Perhaps the devil also has its fears. No wonder it constantly hopes that everyone will be filled with positive energy. That's all for this episode's content. In the next episode, we'll be discussing conversations with God. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.